One of the things I love the most about making my own clothes is being able to hack simple sewing patterns to have different customizations, like the lovely button band down the front of this simple shell top. Hi, I'm Lauren and I love sewing my own clothes, and in this little mini tutorial I want to show you how easy it is to add a simple fold over button band to the front of a simple top pattern. You would be able to apply this to the back of a pattern as well. If it's a top that's just pulled on and off over your head and it's just got a simple front and back bodice, then you could definitely use the same principles to put it in a different part of the garment. So in this example, I'm using the Closet Core Azure top, which is a top that I've made a couple of times before, so it's a little bit of a tried and true pattern for me. I've got the dart in the right position, I've got the length just about right, but you could do this hack with any other simple top pattern. So the Anna Allen Demeter top is a really nice example of this. The new Tilly and the Buttons Leah top, it's got just a really simple pullover version as well. You could do it with that. And the Helen's Closet Ashton top is another popular one, but you get the idea. A simple top that's just got a plain front or back bodice, and you can add a button band to that. So the first step that you have to do is to trace your pattern onto a larger bit of paper. That means you can then add the extension onto the center front that's going to create the button band. So in my example, I'm tracing it onto the Pattern Trace Swedish tracing paper, which is really good because you can see through it as well, and that also helps with pattern matching. And I'm going to be giving you some extra top tips for pattern matching, which I used in the example when I made this top. So get it traced first of all and mark in your dart position, and then the key point is the center front. Now that center front mark is your sort of starting point for working out where the button band is going to sit and how much extra you need to add on. The first thing you need to do really is decide how wide you want your button band to be. So in this example, I picked 2.5 centimeters, which is an inch, but you could make it a little bit wider than that if you wanted to. You could go up to 3 centimeters. I think depending on the garment that you're making and the size you're making, I probably wouldn't go much more than that, but it's up to you. You can decide yourself how wide you want your button band to be, but in this example, I stuck with 2.5 centimeters. Now that center front line that would normally be placed on the fold of a fabric when you cut it out is now going to become the middle of the exposed part of the button band down the front of the garment. So you have to have that in the center when you then draw on your 2.5 centimeter width for your button band. That's got to fall bang in the middle. So you then need to draw 2 lines either side of that, making sure that center front line is in the middle, and that's almost like the front or the exposed bit of the button band. That is what you will see when your garment is finished. Then we have to add on what becomes the back of the button band and some seam allowance as well. So whatever width your button band is, in my case 2.5 centimeters, we want to add that on again, and that's going to sit directly behind it, so we're going to fold it round, and then we need to add on a little bit of seam allowance as well. You could choose how much seam allowance you wanted to add on. I added 1 centimeter. I felt like it wasn't too big, not too small. I wouldn't need to trim it, and then add that on as well. So you end up with these sort of multiple lines along the front of your garment, and that is what's going to create your button band. Obviously, you will then be cutting out 2 of those pieces rather than cutting it out on the fold. So just make sure that you mark that on your pattern as well. Now, the extra thing that I did here was I wanted to make sure that the embroidery that was part of the fabric I was using to make this sample was matching across the center front. And I will link to a blog post that's got these steps in a little bit more detail so you can see some photos, but it's really easy to do with the Pattern Trace Swedish tracing paper because you can see through the paper. So it makes it really easy to match it up and just make sure you're going to get that pattern continuous across the center front. Again, where that center front fold line becomes your starting point for pattern matching, and essentially what you want to do is when you cut the left and right bodices is that center front line is at the same point in the pattern, but you're making a mirror image of it. So I actually ended up drawing onto the paper the outline of the little palm tree at the top neckline. So I wanted to make sure that the centre of a tall palm tree was going right down the middle, and I wanted to make sure that around the neckline as well, it wasn't going, once I'd sewn the binding on, that it wasn't going to be too close to that palm tree. So you have to cut out on the single layer if your pattern matching. So I cut my right hand bodice out first of all. That's the one that's going to sit on the top because the right will sit over the left. And I just made sure that that centre front line was running right down the middle of one of the palm trees. Then when I came to cut out the left hand side of the bodice, I just flipped my pattern piece over, and then again I just made sure that that centre front line was running down the middle of one of the taller palm trees, and I could use the markings that I'd drawn in, the little tracing that I did of the shape of the palm trees, just to make sure that I had the right height so that it would match continuously across it. The other thing that you can do as well is to match the pattern across the side seams too. So I actually ended up drawing in the shape of one of the palm trees at the side seams, because then when you cut out the back bodice, you want to make sure that the same part of the pattern repeat is going to continue through that side seam. It's unlikely it will match exactly at the side seam because it's not a straight seam, it's going to be shaped, but you can just get the pattern on the same level going all the way across. And then I also just made sure that I had a tall palm tree in the centre of the back bodice as well. So I just made sure that when I was cutting that out in the single layer, I lined it up so that my centre back was running along there and I was at the same level of the pattern as my front bodice, cut out one side, flipped the pattern over, and then cut out the other side. So you can see it's really actually quite simple and easy to get that continuity across the button band. Now, when you actually then come to sew the button band in place and finish off the neckline, in this example I used bias binding, and because I was using an embroidered fabric, I also used the flat lining method here too. And I do have another blog post specifically about that, which I will link in the description to this video too. So if you're working with a fabric that is embroidered and you want to work out how to line it using that flat lining method, check out that other blog and video too. But before you actually sew the button band on in place, you definitely want to be putting some interfacing on there. I put a strip of interfacing on what would become the most outward facing part of the button band. So it ended up being, so remember you've got the seam allowance, then you've got the 2.5 centimeters, which is the back of the button band, and then you've got the front of the button band. So that's where I put my strip of interfacing down, which was 2.5 centimeters and 1 inch wide. So I just ironed that onto the back of my fabric, pressed and folded along those lines that I had marked in the pattern. That creates the button band. It then needs top stitched close to that inner folded edge all the way down on both sides, obviously. And then you will find that if you've done that pattern matching, as I explained before, it just kind of automatically comes together. When you overlap your two button band pieces, that pattern will then run continuously over it. Now, in terms of finishing off the neckline, you could also use a facing, which would be a slightly different method, but I'm going to show you how you can use bias binding to do this. It might be that you've got some pre-made already, or it might be that you're cutting out some bias strips. And that is what I did in this example. So I cut mine out at 4 centimeters wide. I pressed my binding strip in half long ways with the wrong sides together, and then you want to sew this onto the outside or the right side of the fabric. I used the 0.5 centimeter seam allowance here, and you want to just make sure that you've got a little bit of overhang at the center front where that button band is. So you sew that on all the way around, then you press the binding up and away from the bodice. You're then going to understitch it. So that's a line of stitching that goes on the binding, but it catches the seam allowances underneath. And then it really helps when you then press that binding to the inside of the garment. That understitching just helps to roll it really, really nice and neatly. And then that little extra bit that was sticking out, you can trim it down slightly, make sure you leave enough to tuck it under, and then you're just going to top stitch all the way around. So you'll end up seeing one line of top stitching on the outside of the garment and 2 lines of top stitching on the inside. And then your neckline is finished, and you just continue the rest of the construction of your garment. You know, if you've got sleeves, obviously you'd put that on. At the hem, I just finished it off on the overlocker in this particular example, and then I pressed it up and top stitched it. So that was how I finished off the bottom of the button band there. And then when you actually come to position the buttons on, I would recommend putting a button at the fullest part of the bust, so make that your starting point. And then depending on how high your neckline is, then you can sort of work out how many buttons above that you would want. So I've got 2 buttons above my full bust point, and then that sort of sets the spacing then for the rest of the buttons down the front. So if you make that your sort of first reference point is the fullest part of the bust, second reference point is what's happening above that, where do you want the top button to sit, how many buttons will be above it, and then you just continue all the way down so you can get your buttonholes sewn on and your buttons on, and then you've done it. You have added a really lovely button band onto your garment. And hopefully now you can see what a really easy hack that it is. This is a really popular style right now on the high street. I was inspired by something that I saw on a well-known fashion brand website to make my own, and also to make it pattern matching, because high street shops don't always put the effort into pattern matching, but it is actually fairly straightforward too. I do have a blog post that goes along with this that's got written instructions with lots of photos, so if you prefer to look at it in that format so you can take it in and follow it step by step, do check out the link that is in the description to this video. The links to the fabrics and the pattern that I've used are in there as well. You can get them in my online shop. But thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on my next video. Thanks for watching, happy sewing, and I'll see you next time. Bye!